Welcome back. Now, World AIDS Day is commemorated annually on the 1st of December, and this year the day observes 35 years of existence. Geluk Psychology will be offering free testing and counselling services on the day, and this effort is to increase access to healthcare and support services to provide added awareness. To give clearer detail, we're now joined by Kelao Uiras, who is a psychological counsellor at Geluk Psychology. Kelao, good evening and welcome.
Even, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Kelao, even in this day and age, in 2023, HIV and AIDS, is still discriminated against, and there's a lot of stigma surrounding it still. How does this, stigma affect the mental health of individuals living with this condition?
Like you said, it's frustrating that at this point we're still dealing with the stigma. But essentially what stigma creates in any kind of environment, but specifically with HIV and AIDS, is that it creates this negative, societal attitude that society has to individuals living with HIV and AIDS. We're talking about discrimination, we're talking about isolation, we're talking about, loneliness, rejection, and how that effectively translates into the mental health of those living with HIV and AIDS. Means that they have to now live with increased stress, increased anxiety, depression, loneliness, a sense of shame that they have to kind of carry this burden, so to say, just based on the stigma that comes when you speak about it. Yeah.
What are some of the most common psychological challenges faced by individuals living with HIV and AIDS? Okay,
so what I mentioned already before, the stigma, but then as well the anxiety, the depression, there's a fear of rejection as well. And there's also, they're worried about disclosure, concerned about when and to who they should be able to disclose this kind of information. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about.
What, strategies and resilience building techniques can be beneficial for individuals living with this?
Okay, so there are a couple of things that you can think about when you're talking about coping strategies or, resilience building techniques. But specifically, it needs to be individualized for each person. So we're talking about, let's say, social support, right? Having your right tribe around you to create that supportive environment. We're talking about peer support groups because, those living with HIV and AIDS have their unique challenges and, kind of connecting with people that, and sharing experiences that are relatable is always helpful. We're talking about the obvious counseling and therapy that comes with it because they definitely go through, like we mentioned, the anxiety, the depression. So, they need professional help, professional guidance in terms of what they can do with that. We're talking about, education for themselves so they can feel empowered, but education in terms of those around them as well so that, again, we can reduce the stigma, as we say. Yeah. And then, just kind of addressing their healthy lifestyle. Okay, so we can change the way they eat, enough sleep, enough rest, exercise, all of those things will kind of create those resilience in the people and also create coping strategies individualized and specialized for each person living with HIV and AIDS.
Yeah. On the point of education that you raised, how can we promote, greater awareness and understanding of the psychological aspects amongst communities, in relation to people living with HIV and AIDS?
Through initiatives like this, right? Through mainly education, awareness, kind of giving the information to the community, to those living with HIV as well, HIV and AIDS, so that we kind of empowered with that information. We're talking about at schools, for example, when we're talking about comprehensive sex education, we speak about abstinence sometimes, but also, speaking about condom use, for example. So having open and honest conversations at schools, at home, in our workplaces, so that we can create, conversations around it, and again, once again, create a supportive environment so that we can normalize, these chats around HIV and AIDS.
Anyone that's ever been for an HIV test knows that they're supposed to receive counselling before and after the test has been conducted. Talk to us about the importance around this.
Okay, so the counselling, the pre-counselling would then address, what actually the test is going to be about and why they want to test and all those kind of things. The post would then be about, the next steps, regarding your test results, whether that's positive result or a negative result. It's essentially just to give, the client or whoever needs to do the test all the information that they need and prepare them, for, whatever result they're going to get, so that if they need to accept, if they need to change their lifestyle, where they need to go for additional help, you know, all of that is given and supported. They're supported through, you know, this if it is a change in their lifestyle as well. So it's just more support and information, kind of giving them that information that they need.
A lot of people are still afraid to get tested
100%, of course.
for HIV and AIDS. You know, what advice would you give to people who find themselves in that predicament, who are unsure of whether they should get tested, they know they've been exposed, etc.? You know, the importance of knowing your status. Yeah,
I would say, you know, rather you live with get the information that you need to get, and then, you know, you can align your life. It's the diagnosis essentially is just giving you more information so that you can know how to best live your life, right? So if I would say, if you're scared, you know, decide either you're going to go on your own because maybe you're still, you know, scared about that, or if you want to go with a friend, a partner, create a safe enough space for yourself so that you can actually go and get tested, and whatever that looks like to you, whether it's alone, in a big group, by yourself, it really doesn't matter, just as long as we're actually going, because we're just trying to empower, like I said, getting the right information for yourself to live your best life.
Geluk Psychology will be doing this initiative on the 1st of December. Talk us through it, and then of course who you know, you're aiming this towards.
Okay, so like we said, on the 1st of December, then will be the World HIV and AIDS Day. Geluk Psychology Services, we are going to host free counselling clinic and free testing clinic. This is now aimed at literally everyone, okay? So
it's open to the public.
Open to the public. Because we have limited capacity, obviously, so bookings would then have to go, you know, they have to be made before, so they have to call through and make those bookings, but it's really aimed at everyone. So what will happen is you will get your pre and post counselling, you will also get your, there will be a registered tester on site as well. So you will get your counselling from a therapist, and then you'll get your testing from one of the registered testers, and then they're essentially not required to bring anything but themselves and just show up for the experience.
And what time does it start, and until what time does the clinic run?
Okay, so it's at Geluk Psychology. That's 35 Alvin Street in Cedrov. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it runs all the way until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So should anyone, you know, be interested in these kind of services, easily contact us. We can either send an email at admin@geluk.com.na, or you can just give us a call at 081 77 2344. No, I'm lying. Imagine. So it's 081, let me just make sure. No 081 7724 334. So that's where we can.
And you have to pre-book your spot.
We have to pre-book because of the limited capacity. Still open to everyone, but then pre-book so that, you know, we have everyone in order and everyone gets a chance to kind of get tested and counselled as well.
Fantastic. Well, Kelao, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
That was Kelao Uiras from Geluk Psychology Services speaking to us about their initiative taking place at their premises on the 1st of December. They'll be having a HIV testing and counselling drive happening, or clinic happening, starting at 9 in the morning. If you'd like to get more information, if you'd like to get in contact with them, please do. If you'd like to get testing and counselling done, please do contact them and book a slot for the day. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.